And thank you for joining us for our annual special presentation, Harvest for Hunger. It is a national and regional health crisis that impacts as many as 50 million Americans in all 50 states. Each year during the holiday season, we explore the relentless concern of food insecurity in the Hudson Valley, our neighbors struggling to put a nutritious meal on the table every night. Now, the Food Bank for Westchester, it provides emergency food for over 80,000 people annually, but it is estimated that the need is much greater, that based on information from more than 200 agencies in the county, maybe as many as 200,000 people living in just Westchester that are hungry or at the risk of hunger. If you want to do the math, that's about 1 in 5 in our population, half of them seeking emergency food regularly. Now, the other half, they do so sporadically, and those seeking help, well, they range from being families, senior citizens, disabled vets, and even the working poor, all struggling to put food on the table. Now, over the next half hour, we will speak to those in the front lines leading the fight to end hunger, and we'll also hear from people in need and the volunteers who give of themselves to help their neighbors. Now, we're going to begin this program with Phyllis One's Ray Ramundi, who spent time with a mom and her 5 kids, grateful for the services available in Westchester.
It's the time of day Kamara Gordine and her family looks forward to.
Finish your food.
A time where she and her 5 kids can sit together for a meal. The Gordine family, 5 of the 50 individuals who come to the Community Service Associates Soup Kitchen here in Mount Vernon, and they represent the tens of thousands of families who are hungry across Westchester County.
I know what it means to some families that can't make it, some families that are working 2 and 3 jobs just to make it, so sometimes they can't make it, and this is their, at the end of the day, their outcome.
4 days a week during the late afternoon, volunteers start the preparation for dinner services. Dinner begins at 5, and for 3 decades, Community Service Associates have been providing meals, counseling, and fellowship to the most vulnerable in need.
And I see the need growing more and more.
For 24 years, CSA has been led by Executive Director and Mount Vernon Councilwoman Roberta Apuso.
A lot of them come in with families and they can't pay the rent and buy food for 4 children and themselves.
Just to put in perspective how important Community Service Associates is to this community, since they moved to this new location last year, they've increased the number of people they served by 25%, and each week they're serving over 200 individuals. And Russell Richards has been one of them. In fact, he says he's been coming to their daily meal services for decades. How hard would this be for you if this was no longer here?
From a 1 to 10, 100. It's tough already.
No organization knows more about that toughness than the Food Bank of Westchester County, where volunteers spent countless hours collecting and packaging food donations, desperately trying to feed hundreds of thousands of families who are starving.
People might not know there are about 200,000 of our Westchester neighbors who are currently struggling with hunger, and that actually includes 58,000 children in Westchester County.
Of those 200,000 families here in Westchester, get this, 33% of those facing food insecurities are children, and 22% of those at risk for hunger are senior citizens, and that number continues to grow. 65-year-old Mr. Brown of Mount Vernon, who relies on the CSA Soup Kitchen, is living proof.
It is a problem. It's very devastating because we have nowhere to go, nowhere to live.
It's why deliveries like these are so special to the food bank. 1,000 turkeys from local supermarket retailer Stop & Shop.
Thank you.
Turkeys! With the assistance of 24 middle school students in Westchester County, helping to provide meals for 200 families for the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday.
I'm really lucky to have what I have, and helping other people who don't even have food is like amazing to me. It makes me feel really good.
It feels very good in my heart that I am able to help other people out and let them have the holiday experience that I am able to have.
In fact, Food Bank of Westchester supplies 95% of all food distributed annually across the region's food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, along with daycare and residential programs. In total, they deliver over 8 million pounds of food and 7 million meals to individuals and families.
I think it's great. It's great to get people from the community, especially children, to understand what giving back to the community is. And as working for Stop and Shop, we also have an obligation to give back to the community.
And speaking of giving back to the community, volunteering is essentially the heartbeat that continues the fight against hunger. Whether it's through donations or, more importantly, your time, it's the volunteers which help to streamline the vital services to those in need. Volunteer Hunger Relief Corps Manager Wendy Armstrong.
These people get to eat and they have something to look forward to, and this is a place that they feel like they're at home.
And for the Gordine family, this place feels exactly like home. Welcome solace from the daily troubles of fighting hunger. Thankful for every meal provided. Hopeful for the time when the hunger crisis comes to an end. Ray Mundy, FiOS 1 News.
And now we head over to Rockland, where in the weeks leading up to Thanksgiving, some people, they stepped up and they got busy to make sure that some low-income families have a holiday meal to enjoy. FiOS 1's Carolyn Fortino has more.
People to People is Rockland County's largest hunger relief organization, and each month they box up food packages for more than 1,500 low-income families.
About 10% of Rockland County's population, about 30,000 people, are considered food insecure, and that means they don't know where their next meal is coming from.
In the weeks leading up to the Thanksgiving holiday, volunteers are packing up turkeys and the trimmings for the families that depend on People to People. Volunteers tell us they feel the needs become greater each and every year.
There seem to be more people here and in need of food as well as things to wear and places to live.
Just wanted to do something, and help others. I know that they needed a lot of volunteers here.
People to People serves the needs of families, seniors, and children, creating food packages for kids to take home when they leave school on Friday afternoons.
What I enjoy doing is my neighbor and I help out making bags for the local schools, and I find that very gratifying because on Friday a lot of these kids go home to an empty pantry.
The packages consist of frozen food items like meat and poultry, along with non-perishables like pasta, rice, canned vegetables, soup, cereals, and spreads. People to People accepts food donations at their Nanuet headquarters on West Nyack Road every Monday through Friday. Reporting in Nanuet, Carolyn Fortino, FiOS 1 News.
Every day, many in the Hudson Valley, they're forced to make some really hard choices. Parents literally skipping meals so that they can feed their kids, seniors choosing between buying medicine and food, and students deciding between their education and eating. Well, coming up, that reality will be part of a roundtable discussion with our panel of experts. And also ahead, it's called the Unhunger Games, a competition between high schools to collect donations to help those in need. You're watching FiOS 1's news special presentation, Harvest for Hunger. Welcome back. Many believe that it's in the urban areas, the big cities, where the problem of hunger is the greatest. But it is in the suburbs often where poverty and food insecurity hide in plain sight. Joining our discussion right now, they're the warriors spearheading the fight to end hunger in our communities. They lead the charge at the biggest food banks in our area, and they know all too well that hunger does exist in the suburbs, and in fact, it's a growing issue. Now, we want to thank them all for joining us. Randy Shubin-Dresner, she is president and CEO of Island Harvest out on the island. Karen Leese, Vice President of Development at the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, and Leslie Gordon, President and CEO of the Food Bank of Westchester. Ladies, thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, let's first of all dispel any notions that it's, around Thanksgiving or the end of the year, the holiday seasons where food's necessary. I'll start with you. Talk about how demand has changed right now, where it used to be that maybe Monday through Friday there'd be a lunch that was offered. Now, in many cases, it's a 7-day proposition and it's 3 meals a day.
Most of the food pantries that we're supporting used to let the clients coming in come as often as they wanted to. And now most of the food pantries in our network are cutting back and only allowing people to come in once a month or maybe twice a month. And that's because the demand has come up so much. They are nervous that they won't have enough food for everybody, and so they limit the amount of times that people could come into their pantries. And the truth of the matter is that if you're hungry in November, you're hungry in July and January and other times of the year as well. And hunger is 365 days of the year.
It's changed too, hasn't it? Where people have always been hungry, but the volume of people that need help, that are on the margins or that have been a client for a long time, the demand really has spiked.
Well, more and more, we're serving the working poor. We know that over 50% of the people that we serve in New Jersey have a working member of their household. So they pay their bills, they pay their utilities, they pay their rent, and there's just not enough left at the end of the month. So if we can supplement that with healthy, nutritious foods, you know, proteins and produce, and give them that extra, then that family will flourish. But if we're not there, and if people aren't helping us to be there, then you see real hardship.
It's interesting. One of the I hear two common refrains every time I talk to people in your world. One is, the greatest day will be the day they're put out of work, where they don't need to do what you guys have to do. But the other thing is, you'd be very surprised who our clients are. Sure. And it's not the stereotype of a junkie or a hobo on the street. You have families coming in. You have working families, as just articulated. You have people that once were volunteers that are even clients right now. There is a changing face, or at least a more, I guess, evolved face as to the population that really needs you guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, I often tell people that a lot of Americans are just one paycheck away, potentially, or one job loss or one significant health crisis away from finding themselves standing on a food pantry line or accessing food at a soup kitchen.
I've heard it's a car breaking down.
Sure.
I heard it's one of the parents getting sick. That it's that by a thread, just one little thing that could go wrong. And we dealt with the United Way with their whole Alice program, where they tried to articulate just how many people, forget about that are below the poverty line, are one mishap from it. And that's what's really changed here. There's no cushion.
We, our staff was working with a single father who hurt his hand very, very badly, and he couldn't work any longer. He came to us in tears because he couldn't put food on the table. But when we were giving him food out of our pantry, he whispered to us that he needed toilet paper also, and he was embarrassed. He was scared of the future because he knew that he wasn't going to be able to work again, and he didn't think he'd be able to get enough from the social service programs to be able to support his family. We recently met with a mother who was going through chemotherapy for breast cancer, and was in tears because the holidays were coming up and didn't think that she'd be able to support her family through the holiday season. You know, I was watching some videos that we had of a food distribution to veterans not long ago. I couldn't be at the event, and I saw somebody that I knew getting food from Island Harvest Food Bank. It was somebody that I grew up with, his older brother, and he was talking about his struggles of hunger. We all know people who are struggling, we just don't know it, because when you're living in food insecurity and you can't put food on the table for your family, it's not something that you're going to be talking about.
And we've all heard the stories we've covered in this program, people having to make decisions between buying medicine or literally putting food on the table. And one person gave me an anecdote. They go, you think it's interesting when you walk through? The people that come to the back door because they're embarrassed. Yeah, sometimes they look like you, Rich. They got a suit on, right? Yeah. And it's that much of a challenge. So if we've effectively communicated the demand and it's not just a holiday thing, let's talk about how people can help. And there's a bunch of different ways they can, right?
Oh, totally. It's such a great time of year to volunteer. Volunteers are desperately needed year-round, but volunteering with your family and showing your children and your loved ones how you can affect change for other.
And for people who think, well, should I get my kids involved? Will that be embarrassing for the clients that are there? You need all the help you can get, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And in the warehouse, you know, you're not necessarily client interfacing. So there's lots of different things that kids can do. We have Girl Scout and Boy Scout troops that come in and repack pasta into smaller bags so that they can go into our family packs into the schools. And we have families that work together staging our produce for our free family farmers markets to get, you know, that produce out into the high need areas. So there's lots of different ways people can contribute and get us ready to meet the need. Also donating. Obviously, a dollar can be stretched very far with our organizations, and we say that every dollar equals 3 meals that we can provide to needy families.
People should feel comfortable, one, that anything they can give, whether it's time, food, or funds, it'll be used properly, and also they're going to get back as much as they give, right?
We talk about 4 ways of giving, contributing, because we all, economies of scale, but we have resources to leverage funds that come into all of our food banks. Volunteering is important, and we encourage families and individuals to get involved. And finding resources and helping us to get donated food, because that's another reason why we're all so efficient, because we also depend on donated food. But the 4th thing, I think, is probably one of the most important, and that's actually talking about the issue of hunger. Because if we don't talk about it and we don't acknowledge it, then we're never really going to be moving the needle on ending hunger.
There's a real need that these agencies not only really rely on here, but certainly a lot of people that may even be your neighbor do as well. Ladies, thank you again. I really appreciate the time.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
So much more ahead, including a race to end hunger. Local businesses hitching a ride to help those in need. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back. It is a long-standing tradition at Stu Leonard's, and this year, no different. It was the annual Turkey Brigade, where turkeys sent to 40 different Westchester County organizations to serve families in need during the holidays. Fox 1's Carolyn Fortino picks up that story.
It means an awful lot because they have nothing, and we like to share with those people who have nothing.
The spirit of Thanksgiving filled the Stu Leonard's grocery store in Yonkers as one by one farm fresh turkeys were handed out to families in need this holiday season.
I wish more companies would follow what they're doing, because it does make a difference in the lives of families who aren't always able to provide quality food during the holidays.
About 2,500 turkeys will be distributed to more than 100 churches, civic groups, nursing homes, and senior nutrition programs, as well as schools in Westchester County, Long Island, and Connecticut.
I feel great, and I know these people that we're going to give these turkeys to, coming from the Nepa end, is going to appreciate it.
Blake Leonard is Stu Leonard's oldest daughter, who says that every store will participate in the 38th annual Turkey Brigade to reach families in need all over the region.
Standing here right now and seeing all the people coming through and how appreciative they are, that's what really, just getting to see even that connection and what they're going to then go do with the turkeys is really incredible.
It's all about family and friends, and celebrate life and giving.
And the hundreds of turkeys that were handed out as part of the 38th annual Turkey Brigade will be donated to 40 local Westchester County organizations and served on Thanksgiving. Reporting in Yonkers, Carolyn Fortino, FiOS 1 News.
The Business Council of Westchester came up with a creative way for its members to have fun while helping the greater community. Fox 1's Allie Rosen tells us about how this racing and rolling event at Mount Kisco works.
Local business leaders are racing to help the fight against hunger in Westchester County.
Cause, love to give back, so much to be thankful for, so anything I can do to make everyone else thankful.
Members of the Westchester Business Council selected the organization Lifting Up Westchester as their nonprofit to support this year.
And so they're organizing this event to help support primarily our soup kitchen and holiday meal program. We obviously serve meals every day. About 60 people come to us for lunch during the week every day. And then we also collect food throughout this holiday season to create holiday gift bags that we take to people's homes so that they can have a festive holiday season.
Members of the Business Council donated to attend this racing and rolling event. And some also brought along food donations. 200,000 Westchester County residents are food insecure, a number which shocks many who work really and live in the area.
And you know, in a community like Westchester, you wouldn't think there's such a need because it's quote unquote affluent, but there is a very strong need. And we wanted to then, support that need and use them have them use us as a platform to sort of get their name out there and spread the word of who they are and what they do.
All proceeds from this event will benefit Lifting Up Westchester, which hopes to provide holiday meals to up to 500 residents this season.
And so the number of people we can serve, the number of meals we can provide, the number of people who get holiday bags is directly proportional to cash donations and food donations that we get, and frankly also the volunteers that come to help us package and deliver. So it's a very much a community-based effort, and whatever comes in goes out, so the more that comes in, the more that goes out. And
Anna Haita says Lifting Up Westchester is always looking for extra help. Visit their website at www.liftingupwestchester.org. In Mount Kisco, Allie Rosen, FiOS 1 News.
It is called the Unhunger Games, a friendly competition between high schools to see which team can bring in the most donations to benefit local hunger relief organizations. FiOS 1's Ray Ramundi has more.
The time has come to select one courageous young man and woman for the honor of representing District 12 in the 74th Annual Hunger Games.
Most know about the Hunger Games on the silver screen. But then there is this, what Volunteer New York has deemed as the Unhunger Games, a competition between 3 Westchester County high schools. The purpose, collecting as many meals as possible.
The Unhunger Games is a great way that we can help out more people, especially right before Thanksgiving. So I think our school was super excited.
What you see here is a culmination of high school students and their efforts over 7 days to collect canned goods, pasta, peanut butter, you name it, vital food items to help those with food insecurities. Students packing the items in these bins, donated by a local moving company.
It's very special that we get to help people, and especially seeing and counting all the cans, like all these boxes, we get to see how we're actually helping people.
An effortless school-wide collection by Ossining, Sleepy Hollow, and Hamilton High Schools, which is now helping to provide meals for so many families.
Altogether, we've brought in about 2,900 meals for the hungry. Wow, so that's a big deal.
The enthusiasm not only fueled by helping those thousands of families who struggle to obtain food, but it's also all about the competition.
First of all, it involves the youth, which is what we wanted to do. We want to get them more involved and aware of the hunger issues that are here.
Then there are the results, the anticipation, and subsequent celebration of knowing who collected the most goods.
Guess what, guys? You won!
What? Whether first, second, or third, all of the students at Hamilton, Sleepy Hollow, and Ossining High are winners for helping to make 2,900 meals for needy families and individuals as they look to collect 10,000 meals for next year's Unhunger Games. In Ossining, Ray Ramundi, FiOS 1 News.
Now, if you want to get involved and make a difference, and if you've learned one thing from this program, hopefully it is they need your help. Whether it be volunteering, making a donation, or even starting your own food drive, please go to foodbankforwestchester.org. There you will find all the information you'll need. Well, that's going to do it for us on FiOS 1 News presentation, Harvest for Hunger. Thank you so much for joining us. And on behalf of everyone here at FiOS 1 News, we wish you and your family a healthy and a happy holiday season.